This is for my reflection number 4, where we're looking at the appendix of Never Work Harder Than Your Students. And in there, I think the part that I do the best on is topic number 2, where it says know where your students are going. And what I think got me there was when I broke down the Algebra 1 standards 2 years ago. And I was in charge of basically writing the curriculum from the Georgia standards. I learned to look at every resource that was out there, to unpack the standards, to look through the review guides, to look through released items, to look at the way the study guide was worded, to look through the performance tasks that accompanied the lessons, all those things to better understand what was intended by the standards. And it really helped me to focus on every single word and all the different ways that a standard could be interpreted. And I designed tests and I designed activities based on what I observed by unpacking these standards. And that has carried over into my everyday teaching, into my, you can see, test items that are worded similarly to what the states and how their interpretation of the standards were. I show the kids the standards. I have them focus on the standards. I try to thoroughly explain the standards. So where it says that I see course objectives as the floor rather than the ceiling, and clearly communicate objectives to students and break subjectives down, I believe I do that pretty well, and that assignment that was given to me has helped me to do that. Now, as far as the one that I think I could work on the most or would benefit me the most is number 5. Use feedback to help your students, to help you and your students get better. And I find myself sometimes holding on to papers too long, worried that the kids are going to cheat or swap papers and whatnot, and don't give them opportunity to look at specific feedback that I could offer. I mean, I do give feedback. I don't do a terrible job of this, but I think it's something that I could do better. And according to the questionnaire over here, it says write the principle in my own words. I believe this to be, feedback would be both for me and for the kids. Are there those red flag mechanisms that the book talked about, to where I build it into my assignments, into my assessments, to where when a kid misses a particular item, that I could quickly recognize and quickly redirect as needed. So it's for me to help them, to help steer them the right way before it gets too late into the unit. But it's also, of course, for them to personally keep up with what they know, what they don't know, and how for them to get better. It says to turn to the chapter where the principles discuss and list the getting started steps below. Well, the getting started steps for this section, it says their assignments and assessments can provide you valuable feedback by collecting a variety of data that focuses more on just the right answer. But those red flag mechanisms there that I talked about, one of the big things I got from this book is understanding what the kids are doing wrong as quickly as possible. Then number 2 here, for the kids to use assessments to coach your students toward better by showing them how to collect their own data and putting them in charge of their own learning, and in charge of knowing what they understand, knowing what they don't understand, and what kind of questions to ask. And then a plan for me is to build those red flag mechanisms more so into my assignments, into my assessments, having the kids thoroughly look at graded papers for them to understand and record and keep up with what they did right, what they did wrong, and for them to continually work on it until they master that. What obstacles may be in your way, just hesitance from the students, unwillingness from the students, getting students to care. That's that age-old question. And I think more so from the students would be my biggest obstacle. How I'll monitor it, I'll just look at each assessment, be able to identify readily what those red flag mechanisms are, record that allowed the students to look over the major assessments and had them try to understand what they knew well and what they didn't know well. And completion date would be over the course of a year after I've had a chance to look over everything. I thought this is a great text. I did enjoy reading. I didn't read it completely. I think there's some things in there for sure that'll help me become a better teacher.